Welcome to my interview, the Assisted Technology interview. I want to tell you that this interview has topped off my learning experience in this class. And to have that hands-on, face-to-face contact as I did with this particular individual proved to be quite rewarding. But this information, I must tell you, I will take this with me as I progress in my career. So if you can sit back, enjoy, we'll move forward. So this is the assistive technology interview. The special education teacher that I interviewed was Ms. D. Porter, and she's with Marigi Davis. The choice of technology was the iPad that she uses in the classroom. The question is, how is the technology implemented? And she stated that its primary use is in the special education program with her autism, nonverbal, and limited verbal use students. The funding, the iPads were made possible through a grant. The source came from the Race to the Top federal education grant. The population that she serves, there are two primary populations to receive the grant. It's the kindergarten classroom as well as AU, which are the autistic classes. Who is impacted? She stated as a special education teacher, so all of her students are positively impacted by the use of technology in her classroom. Incorporation into the curriculum. She stated that getting some of the students to get into the initial routine of adding a device into learning can be, for some that is, a little challenging. Attention spans are short. Focusing on actual program and moving through the functions can all prove challenging yet rewarding when mastered. How is the training offered for the devices? Training is provided to staff through staff development. Professional techs were brought in and delivered a departmental-wide training on using the iPad and delivering instruction on the iPad to students. They also went over software applications designed specifically for children with autism. How are the technology devices maintained? The school has insurance on the devices that cover general maintenance and internal problems. The school also has district-wide technicians that service all computer and electronic devices. The review of the likes and dislikes, the student feedback is very high. They seem to really be engaged more with the iPad opposed to other electronic AT devices in her classroom. The iPad is easy to carry and it allows the students to learn in a hands-on way. Educational needs are definitely made more accessible to students with disabilities with the iPad. There aren't many dislikes with the iPad. Like most people that are autistic, change can be challenging. Is there a way to track progress? And she indicated yes. Uh, Herself and her teacher assistant use a teacher tracking data system. They base their information on data taken at the beginning of each year. This is from students that have not previously used the iPad in the classroom instruction before. They measure growth midway during the year, and then at the end of the year, they've seen as much as 60% increase in environmental print awareness and other communication prints in their students. Their overall verbal communication skills increase far beyond that of what she's seen without the use of the iPad. It's a great teaching tool that give, gives those with limitations access to education and other daily life functions. So my overall assessment of our interview, I must start by saying that it was really great to actually hear from someone that has that day in and day out hands-on experience. And I just stated that Ms. Porter provided me with an energetic, empathetic, and interesting interview that left me engaged and interested in seeking more insight about this area of education. As the point of contact for her school, she is very helpful and forthcoming with her experiences. I feel as though her institution is following the right path and engaging their students effectively with utilizing the iPad. The 60% increase in environmental print awareness and other communication prints was impressive, and according to Ms. Porter, their numbers are on a steady incline. Her school used the roadmap to integrate her technology. So we kind of went over the phase one about, selecting that tool, and phase two, how to, go through the acquisition of it. And then your phase three, which is implementation, excuse me. And then phase four, the actual integration process. Um, the thorough teacher involvement with making sure the student knows how to use the iPad is great, and showed her willingness to not only learn her equipment but actually implement her training. She talked about how technology is a 21st century life skill, and the power of its usage in her classroom is a part of their universal design, because all her students can stay engaged in her lectures, as well as allow her learners to communicate their basic needs in order for her to set a level of expectation of for successful outcomes. Suggestions of additional classroom tools, I just kind of stated to her based off of what I've learned in my class. The My Talk Tools mobile, which is for iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, and it enables people with communication difficulties to express their needs and desires to those around them. And the autism timer, which I read from another learner in our class. That is a digital timer that shows the elapsed time clearly and is easy to use. And I know the other classmate stated that she would use that during maybe doing some flashcard exercises to keep them on a time schedule. So I felt that was pretty useful. And how I would apply my new knowledge, what I have learned during my interview with Miss Porter is that passion and patience go hand in hand, and that the challenges of a learner with a learning disability can prove to yield great rewards if a solid lesson plan is created and followed through. I would use the information obtained from my interview as a motivation and a reminder that I am not alone in the process of educating students with disabilities, because she made it sound effortless when the right attitude is in place. She offered that the reality of a challenge with instructional technology will be present, but working through them will pan out to serve both the student and the educator well in the long run. Here are my references, and this concludes my interview, and thank you for listening.